How's it going, everybody? This is going to be part one of a series that I think I'm going to call Normalizing Honesty in the Automotive Industry. As we all know, it's really hard to find a mechanic that you can trust. When you pull your car up to a shop, you never really know if they're gonna try and sell you stuff that you don't need, or if they're gonna do the work incorrectly, or they're gonna bill you twice what they should. I see it all too often. I have customers come in where it's like, they said they did this one thing and they said this was bad, can you check that out? And I check it out and it's like, nothing's wrong. Like, there's nothing wrong here. And they're like, what the hell? And situations like that, a lot of other instances of just shops trying to pull money where they shouldn't be, trying to make money out of nothing. Personally, a couple months ago, I experienced this. I took my truck to a local shop to have some tires installed because I don't have a tire installer or a tire machine and a balancer. And as part of their process, they do a complimentary multi-point inspection. And in that inspection, if I had known nothing about my truck prior, I would have thought that the thing was totally junk, that it had all these issues that needed to be fixed right then. And that's scary. That's wild. Half of their recommendations, 75% of their recommendations were based on mileage. When they pulled my transmission dipstick and checked the fluid level and the condition of the fluid, it was bright red because I had just changed it and they recommended changing it. What is that? That's wild. That's dishonest. That is trying to make money out of nothing. And because of that, they will never see my car again. I don't understand what has made the industry turn into recommending shit that doesn't need to be changed. It doesn't make any sense, because in my mind, if you're honest with people and you do what they want you to do, and then you point out like, hey, this is wrong too, I will provide you with evidence, I would recommend changing this at some point. If you go about it that way, feels like a whole lot less pressure than, hey, this is totally messed up. Like, no, I don't have any pictures or videos to back it up. Like, you just need to change this right now. Every shop does that, except for a very, very, very select few. But you're talking Jiffy Lube, you're talking Big O Tires, any chain repair shop, it's gonna do that. Like, they're gonna say that because their job is to sell. That's it. Where if they actually did their job correctly and just recommended what absolutely needed to be done and did it in a way that they could prove it, back it with some evidence, you just earned a customer for life. Why be dishonest about that? That doesn't make any sense to me. My main point and my main purpose behind this series is I want to shift the tide in the automotive industry, which is like insane, right? Because I'm just me. I'm like not even 0.01% of the automotive industry, but I swear to God, someday I will be so much bigger than that. I know that I will be. And I think that it is absolutely crucial that honesty becomes a larger staple in this industry. Because like it or not, automotive will probably never go away. In 30, 40 years, yeah, everything might be electric, but it's all still gonna need to be serviced. Like, even though it's gonna need a lot less service, I'm still gonna have a job. These shops are still gonna be around if they shift and they adopt honesty. Because like, you can't just keep screwing people over and expect to stay in business for a long time. And honestly, I get it. Honesty is scary because it's brutal. For instance, this past week, I spent 3 days on an HVAC related job for a newer BMW X5. With that job, I had to take the entire dashboard out, disassemble the interior, just to get at one motor that I was like 95% confident it would fix the issue at hand. Do it, throw it all back together. This is a long job. It was like 12 hours billable. And when I got it back together, the same exact issue was present. Now, while things were taken apart, I did a full system inspection. I looked at everything in there because I was like, when I put this back together, I do not want it to have the same issue, of course, right? Despite that effort, despite all that time that went into it, the issue was still present. I immediately went, oh, shit, like I have to spend my time, I can't bill this time to figure out what else the issue could be. And after 3 or 4 hours of researching, digging through my information that I pay for, after combing the internet, I couldn't figure it out. Nothing made sense. I couldn't concretely prove anything because BMW is so locked down. And that's an unfortunate truth that we run into as automotive technicians. Like, we're working against and with the OEM manufacturer to properly fix these vehicles. And sometimes it's just not possible. So at the end of those 4 hours or whatever it was trying to figure it out, I went back to the customer and I was like, dude, the issue is still there. I can't figure it out. I don't have enough information. I'm gonna have to recommend that you go to a different shop. Like, you gotta go to the BMW dealership and have them figure it out. Again, because I just don't have the right information. And I didn't bill him for an hour of my time. All I did was bill him for the part that I changed at the exact price that I bought it at. I didn't upcharge it, didn't do anything like that. I lost my ass on that job. And when you're a small-time guy like me, that's a big deal. That would have been over $1,000 for me in billable labor. And that's a big deal. But at the end of the day, what's he gonna remember? And what's gonna positively affect me long-term? That $1,000? That lying, saying, oh no, it's actually this, or oh no, like, I don't know. Even if I was honest and said, you know, you need to take it elsewhere, if I still asked for money, the impression that would leave on the customer is, even if this guy doesn't do his job right, he wants me to pay him. And that's not really how things work. It sucks. It sucks, again, because that was a big payday for me that I just missed out on. And I lost 3 days of being able to work on other things to make money. But at the end of the day, the lasting impact on that customer, from their perspective, oh, he didn't figure it out, that's shitty, but he's not billing me for it. How can you be upset at that? And especially when I'm like, dude, I straight up don't have information. Like, I would love to do it, but I don't have the right info. I can't access it. You can't argue that. You can't be upset at that when it's an honest thing. Down the road, that dude's gonna bring me every single car he has. He's gonna recommend me to everybody he knows. Because what's important about that situation is not, oh, this dude tore my interior apart and didn't fix an issue, and he sucks because of that. That's not, nobody's gonna say that. He's gonna say, yeah, we had a hard time figuring out this issue on my BMW. He spent all this time on it and it didn't end up working and he didn't bill me a dime for it. People are gonna be like, what? Of course I'll take my car to him. Even if he's not able to, like, maybe he looks at it and he's not able to do it, at least I know that he'll be honest about it. At least I know that I'm not going to take my car to a shop that's just gonna hang on to it and hold it for ransom, trying to get me to buy this. Because that's so against everything that I'm about. So I think what so many shops are focused on is this short-term gain of, yes, that $1,000, those 3 days spent. Like, yes, you should be compensated for your time, but more than your time, I think you should be compensated for your competence. I could drive an hour and go fix a simple issue, and I'd be fine charging him $200, because it's like, yeah, it's taken me 10 years to know exactly what that was and fix it like that. So you're paying for my competence. But if I go drive an hour and I can't fix the issue, then how am I gonna bill for that? How do you bill for that? The automotive industry is not just a time for money, it is a money for competence structure. You need to be competent to fix an issue correctly. And we're seeing too much of these incompetent mechanics getting paid just for their time. Their time isn't worth shit if they're incompetent, if you ask me, and if they're dishonest. It's one thing from diagnosis to like just basic repair. Those are two very different things. But my main point is the overarching theme of this first episode of this series: play the long game. The long game is what matters. That one situation this week hurts my bottom line, or no, my top line for this month. But in months to come, I have no idea how much that honest conversation will pay me back. I have no idea. But I know it's gonna be more than $1,000. Quit being greedy. Quit expecting money for nothing. Be competent. Be proud of your job. The automotive industry is hard, but it's harder when you fight everything. When you won't learn more, when you're trying to sell customers what they don't need, And when you're willing to bill for nothing, that's bullshit. As an industry, we need to be better. We're so much better than that. And people need us to be better than that. Cars aren't going anywhere. Everybody has at least one car. Like, there's enough money to be made just by being honest. So just be honest. It's not that fucking hard.